Here it is, everybody. The chairman versus the captain. Who would win? So tonight I'm going to be reviewing the great match, I would say, between Shawn Spears and Cody Rhodes from All Elite Wrestling's All Out pay-per-view from Chicago this past weekend. Amazing match. There was a lot of old school wrestling here, and I really enjoyed that. As much as I'm a fan of, say, the flip fly and hardcore stuff, like my last review with the Joey Janela Darby Allin match with Jimmy Havoc, I really have a spot in my heart for classic stories told with classic wrestling moves and holds, and this delivered. So Shawn Spears, Cody Rhodes, obviously the big setup happened back when Shawn Spears hit Cody over the head with the chair, split his head open, a lot of controversy with that, but it led to this really good ongoing storyline between the two of them where Cody, he's just it's the B-plus player storyline in reverse, where Shawn Spears is the heel out to prove that, no, he is, in fact, the superstar here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the match. We're going to break down the match as we go along, and then I want to give some thoughts throughout about how this match was unfolded and how they really told a story with classic wrestling. And I was so happy to see this match on this card in between, the Lucha Brothers and Matt and Nick Jackson Madness. So I really do enjoy some classic style wrestling. So we open, Shawn Spears is introduced. He is the chairman. Great entrance by both. Well, no, we'll get to that. In fact, I kind of thought this match was a case of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there's a lot of good. There is a little bit of bad, and we'll start off with the ugly. So Shawn Spears makes his entrance. He, of course, comes down with Tully Blanchard at his side. Love Tully Blanchard. One of my, I don't know, I was a huge fan of Strikeforce growing up. One of my big moments was when the Brainbusters fought Strikeforce and Rick Martel turned on Tito Santana, and the Brainbusters were, of course, a big part of that, and special place in my heart for that. Shawn Spears is a superstar, absolute superstar. He looks amazing. His Ty Dillinger Perfect 10 has transformed into a main events talent here in AEW. He has the contact lenses in, the Iceman stare, very cool, very creepy, absolute heel. He plays it up to the crowd. And then we jump right into the ugly of this match. And the ugly, I thought, was this Star Trek uniform, Star Trek outfit. One thing that was funny before we get into that is with the chair. They're making mention that the chair that Shawn Spears is carrying to the ring is the same chair that he smashed over Cody's head. They even said it still has the blood on it from Cody's head when he smashed it over his, so they're really playing that up, which is good. They should. That was the angle that, yeah. So then we get into the Cody Rhodes entrance. Now, I really liked, honestly, the choreography of how they Brandy and DDP and MJF, how they kind of slowly joined in with each other, like, what's up, and they're walking all tough. But they have the Star Trek gear on, and I don't care. I'm a nerd. Look behind me. I'm a nerd. I love nerdy shit, but this is a blood feud, and you're coming down to Star Trek guys. MJF, I didn't even notice. I thought he was just in like a sweater. It was a Star Trek thing, but I thought it was honestly just a shirt, because why would he go along with that anyway? I don't know. And of course they have Pharaoh the dog. We get the classic now AEW standard bearer of the chandelier that's at all of their shows. I think it's an awesome spectacle. It rises, and Cody rises from that, and he has a Star Trek outfit on as well. So, as cool as he is, and as cool as this entrance is, and he oozes the charisma and the machismo, and he's got it for sure. But I'm just not a fan of this Star Trek get up thing. So they all walk down to the ring. Dave Hebner says, "You get one. You get one. Who's it gonna be?" So, well, makes sense. It's gonna be MJF. MJF. I love MJF. I'm so looking forward to this guy grow and develop and just be the best heel. He gives DDP the upside down diamond cutter. The old Ready to Rumble. Diamond cutter upside down is pussy. That was from Ready to Rumble, but he almost looks like Scott Conn there doing that. Again, Cody stands in, gives the look off into the space. Just a superstar there. Immediately into the action. It's a blood feud. It's a grudge. Cody is been waiting, chomping at the bit to get his hands on Shawn Spears, so he goes and flies right out of the ring, right into Shawn Spears. The match hasn't even started yet. Both men haven't gotten in the ring, so they're brawling outside. Cody gets the better of him, and he poses for the crowd, and the crowd is eating it up against superstar Cody Rhodes. It doesn't take long for Tully to get involved. They haven't even gotten in the ring yet. Tully holds Cody back and a nut shot, so we're going to get that. And we're told that the reason Hebner didn't see this is because he's distracted with MJF, so that's going to be a big key to this match as well as MJF. And that's something else I want to talk about at the end is the storylines that are going to come from this, because there's a lot of potential ways they can go. So Tully, obviously ringside, superstar in his own right. I was a big Brainbusters fan. That Bobby Heenan faction with, the Heenan family with the Brainbusters with Arn and Tully. I love that. The Four Horsemen stuff, I was a big WWF fan at the time, so I didn't watch much of the early Horsemen stuff. Gone back and watched it. I love it. Speaking of Horsemen stuff, a lot of chops in this match, especially early on. Brutal chops, Shawn Spears, Cody Rhodes, back and forth. We'll see it later on, the wear and tear on each other's chest from this match, but brutal chops, very, very stiff looking. Shawn Spears does a pretty cool move outside the ring. He does like a suplex and ties Cody's legs into the ring and does a big boot move right into Cody's head. Unique spot, still keeping it old school though, and it's not a flip fly. It's using old school heavy lifting wrestling. Still, there was a point where Cody flies in, does the classic shoulder spot into the ring post through the turnbuckles, and I was. You zoom in on this, and there's a damn spike coming out of that. I mean, had he been literally 2 inches higher, I don't know what that is, but oh shit, that looks a little dangerous. AEW may want to look into that before too many of those spots. Shawn Spears immediately follows that up with, of course, an apron DDT, which is brutal. We get a really good classic heater spot here with Tully getting up on the ring apron. Shawn Spears takes off Cody's weight belt, and he's going to whip him with it, and Hebner's not having it. Hebner gets up in Shawn's face. Shawn actually starts pushing Dave Hebner, and Hebner's not having that, and he pushes Shawn right back and gets him back in his corner. However, while they're doing that, Shawn, all right, you can see that Tully's getting the belt. Tully pulls his own belt out, and Shawn Spears chucks the weight belt. As Hebner's going, he gives him the bird, and Tully slips him Tully's belt, and Shawn Spears proceeds to whip Cody with it, and we'll see the marks of that later. It looks like it left a nice one on him. MJF is Cody's biggest cheerleader. The roller coaster, he's given him everything he's got on the outside, all the support. Love the contrast of color here. Cody in the gold, Shawn in the ice blue. It's a really good a contrast of colors. They really pop off of each other, and again, it makes them look like superstars. MJF is definitely getting more involved, causing some distractions, keeping Hebner to the side. Cody does a mean pancake tilt-a-whirl slam, boom, right on Shawn Spears' back, takes a nice flat back. Hey, it's horsemen are involved. There's got to be a figure four. Cody even goes, woo! Of course he does. Figure four, classic spot, even with the old reverse. There's I think that when they reverse it, Jim Ross calls it a what does he call it here? He calls it an inversion of an Indian deathlock. So JR's throwing in his little spots. The commentary was so on this show. I think JR just hasn't got a stride back. I have faith he'll get there. He's got to show a little more interest in the product, though. I think he really should. The dynamics of the heels and the baby, MJF and Tully Blanchard are playing these classic heel and babyface roles, but I felt it was more of a tag team dynamic as opposed to the manager dynamic. The classic manager dynamic happened as well, where say Tully would distract, but we got a lot of the stuff where MJF was coming to try to help, and that distracted Hebner and allowed Tully, for instance, in this situation, to give Shawn Spears leverage on the inverted figure for the Indian Deathlock, inverted Indian Deathlock. So it felt more like almost a tag team match dynamic, which is, of course, these guys have spent a lot of time in tag teams. Tully Blanchard's a tag team guy, so that makes sense that's gonna happen. But yeah, we see MJF is kind of the good guy, meaning well. He's playing that classic good guy role. Here we see the results of those belt whips from Shawn Spears, brutal as they were. There's the classic. Here's, speaking of the classic manager heel spot, here's Tully distracting as a pinfall occurs. We get a crossroads on Shawn Spears, but the ref is distracted, of course. MJF gets up on the ringside. MJF is all over this match, and I'm glad he is. His facials are priceless. I love MJF. I can't get enough of this guy. Give me more, give me more, give me more. That's all I can say about MJF. There's a point where both wrestlers, Cody and Shawn Spears, are down, and Tully and MJF enter the ring. And Tully exits the ring immediately, and then Tully gets right back in the ring. I don't know if that's some sort of horseman psychology or what, but that's what happened. And then MJF takes off his shirt. Guy is just ripped to shreds. He's still got his scarf on. He throws it in Tully's face, and they go into the choke. Tully does get the upper hand on the choke. It's a little awkward. I would think MJF would just drop him, but before he can, Shawn Spears comes in, big boot to MJF's head, knocks him down, and this is when we get the big spot with Arn Anderson. I'm sure you've all heard, hopefully you've seen this match. Love the spot with Arn. He does the spine buster, his classic move, and picks up Shawn Spears. There wasn't much background as to why Arn would turn on Tully, or Tully and Arn aren't getting along. I guess, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but I don't think there was any story behind that, or why Arn would be on Cody's side. You'd think they would all be against the Rhodes family as the Horsemen. Who knows? Gives him a good spine buster and leaves. That's about it for Arn. Good to see Arn. I love these guys. I am so happy to see him involved. And it wasn't overdone, and it wasn't them getting the upper hand. They kind of took advantage of situations. The Tully MJF thing maybe, but even that was helped by the Shawn Spears big boots. So used in a successful way, whereas I think in WWE, Shawn Michaels would come back and super kick somebody and lights out and then celebrate in the ring. This was done much more... I don't know, it had a good feel of realism to it. Tully, speaking of realism, Tully, after this, I think has a moment of senioritis here, because he's like, oh, and he wanders back, and Arn goes down the right ramp, and Tully just goes down the left ramp, and he's looking around confused, and he just looks like a poor old man at that point, and he leaves. But he got his paycheck, so good for Tully. Shawn Spears introduces a chair. However, he doesn't get to use it. Cody gets a boot on him. And meanwhile, MJF is still selling this confrontation he just had with Tully. And we can see Cody's chest at this point is just red. It's popping. He's got the belt on the back. These guys did beat the hell out of each other. Cody gets the chair, and he's, contemplating, and Shawn Spears is begging him. I think he even says something like, do what I did, become me, something like that, and Cody, he's really thinking about it. MJF is waving him off, Hebner's waving him off, Spears is saying, do it. Cody doesn't. Cody goes into his dad's stuff, starts doing the finger roll, does the big fist punches, and then he gives him the old, first he does a crotch grab and then gives him the old bionic elbow, throws the chair to Shawn Spears, who catches it, gives him what is it, the Devastator? No, what is it, the Devastator kick, and it's just a kick off the top rope. I'm not a big fan of that move, to be honest with you. Then the final crossroads for the pin, 1, 2, 3. Cody gets the win. This was some good camera work. There was some poor camera work, I thought, in this show, especially early on with the Women's Battle Royal. I think I mentioned in my last video how they were missing some big spots that they should have got while shooting like entrances and exits when people were being eliminated, things like that. This match, the camera work was fantastic. Some really good shots, especially at the beginning and the end of these guys, really making them feel like superstars. After the finish, we get the tease. Where are we going from here? MJF slowly gets into the ring, picks up the chair, giving Cody the eye. You can see everybody in the crowd's like, oh shit, he's gonna do it. Oh shit. And I was, oh shit, he's gonna do it. And then no, he makes eye contact with Cody, drops the chair, big hug, throws his hand up in victory. Roller coasters, my boy, still for the time. Cody gets down, gives the AEW logo a big kiss. This is his baby. He loves it. And that is the end of the match. So this was a great match. It slowed down the action. Before this match, we had we had the Janela craziness. And after this match, we had the Lucha Brother madness. So it was this good old school match kind of sprinkled into the middle of this wild, crazy, new style wrestling show. Now, where are they going from here? I think that's the big question that we're all taking away from this is, I would like to see Shawn Spears and Cody Rhodes continue, and I think because MJF hasn't turned yet. Now, the thing is, and this is how I was wondering how we're going to go into this, because obviously DDP is a huge baby face. Cody is... They're not going to boo Cody. People love Cody. He is the founding father, basically. He's the figurehead of this company. They love him. Nobody's going to turn on Cody. But MJF is the classic heel, and people legitimately have heat with MJF. People legitimately cannot stand MJF, which is exactly what we want and what he wants. So it's an interesting dynamic. So I think they're going to have this go on for a little bit longer, and I'm happy with that. I hope we get another. But see, that's the other thing is, since Cody won, does it make that much sense to have a rematch with Shawn Spears? Or does Shawn Spears, is that the blow-off? Did Cody get his revenge? Did Shawn Spears get his comeuppance? I don't know. Shawn Spears took the loss, but it was nothing compared to the destructive headshot he gave Cody with that chair. So, I don't know. Do you have another match and you have Cody go over yet again? Or do you have a rematch with Cody and Shawn, and this time MJF does do the turn, and then you have that? I don't know. I would ride the MJF roller coaster wagon for a little bit longer, because the further that goes, the more heat that match, that blow off is going to have when MJF and Cody finally do go at it with each other. And I cannot wait for those matches. Those are going to be fantastic. So, overall, this was a great match. It's probably my third favorite on the card, to be honest with you. I really, that Lucha Brothers Young Bucks match was really amazing. And then I just liked, for the spectacle of it, the Havoc, Darby Allin and Janela match. And then this would probably be third. And then I would probably go with right there at fourth would be the Omega Pac and the last match of the night. Again, I was wearing a little thin at this point. For some context, I'm in South Australia. Got a little tired at this point of the evening, so But anyway, that's my recap of the match. That was my feedback. That's my thoughts. That's where I think they're going with this. I'm really looking forward to what AEW does come TNT. We've got another pay-per-view announced for November. We'll see where they go with this, and I'll see you soon. Please like and subscribe, and I really appreciate all the feedback on my last video. Let me know what you guys think of this video, and we'll see you soon.